We're gonna give you the best shoulder mobility exercises that you can use today for weightlifting, and we're gonna start right now. So why should we be focusing on our shoulder mobility? Okay, couple different factors. One, if we're in the snatch and we have a good mobile position in our overhead position or our catch position, ideally we could get a little bit lower when we catch that snatch. So now we, in theory, don't have to pull as long if we're using weight that's really heavy, okay? The other big factor is that when we're using mobility-based exercises or we're improving our mobility in our shoulders, we're gonna have more structural stability. If we have more structural stability, we can catch things and hold on to them quite a bit more. We won't get called on press outs by really terrible judges, typically in the United States. And also on top of that, we're just gonna be healthier. If we hit that split position in a jerk or that overhead position in the snatch, we're going to be more stable and we're gonna have greater awareness of where the bar needs to be. So we need to use mobility to improve the overall performance and to also maintain and lengthen our career so that we can keep chipping away and increasing our overall total. Okay, that's the main goal here. So we could start off by foam rolling our lats, doing the scorpion stretch, doing the prayer stretch. Those are great exercises that you can use right now. We just gave you 3 extra exercises to improve your shoulder mobility, to improve that lat mobility, and to lengthen everything. But we're gonna give you more exercises that are gonna be really freaking cool that you can use to continuously chip away at that bigger total. Okay, to start off, I'm in this scorpion position. This is something we've even used with some of our discus throwers, okay? So I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna feel this in my glutes, okay, and I wanna hold in my hamstrings here, and I'm gonna lower this down, and I'm gonna feel this in my upper back quite a bit, right there. Oh, and I'm gonna try and get that shoulder blade all the way flat, and then I'm gonna rotate and hold. So I wanna feel through my abs, okay, as I rotate, and through that upper back, and through my mid back. And then I can come down and I can control this, control, try and get really deep, and then press and come back up. Now, this is a great movement that you can use to warm up. It's also a great exercise that you can use as an accessory, okay? And I even like to use this with athletes, who tend to rotate towards one side, okay? So if we have somebody in a split jerk, typically they'll rotate this way, like 95% of the time. They'll rotate towards their front foot. Even when they catch a snatch, they'll typically rotate like that, okay? I've done videos on this in the past where I've spent years taking notes at world championships and looking at how these people rotate specific ways. And then I take that information and I compare their rotation in the snatch to their lead leg in the jerk. And that's typically what I see. So if we're here, we'll rotate like this when we catch that snatch, okay? So that's just something to be aware of, and that's where that stretch comes into play. Rotate, press. You want to hit both sides. Let's say 5 sets of 7. The next movement that I like to use is a close grip snatch. Now, this is an exercise that I learned from Norik Vardanian, okay? One of the best technicians to ever walk the planet, son of one of the greatest weightlifters of all time, top 3 lifters of all time, probably also one of the greatest technicians of all time. Now, the mid grip snatch, I believe, is going to be more like a clean grip, okay? Here. I want to go closer. Now, when I trained with Dr. Anatoly Bondarchuk, he would have athletes do close grip snatches like this. So they would actually get set and go there. Boom. I do think that's beneficial to a point, but I like to even have athletes here, just like a clean grip, okay? So I would say this would be a mid grip for myself because I go collar to collar if I'm snatching. Now I'm going to that clean grip, okay? I want to get here and get nice and deep, hold that position, boom, hold, and then come back up. And what you'll end up seeing is through that mid-range as they stand up, as an athlete stands up, they really have to light up their shoulders. So this is a good movement to help teach a really long pull, which will then also lead to that super narrow catch position. So they have to have really stable shoulders. So you can use that scorpion stretch with the roll, 5 sets of 7 on each side. Use it to warm up or use it as an accessory. What I just demonstrated there, obviously I have the plate there to sort of replace my weightlifting shoes. You can do a close grip snatch, one to warm up for a big snatch session if you want to help improve that mobility in the shoulders, or you can even use it as an accessory on our technical variation days. So typically inside of our strength training app, Peak Strength, when we're in Olympic weightlifting, we have a day designated to technical variations. Those variations are going to be used to improve your technique and improve your mobility, which will ultimately lead to better performance. If you guys guys want to check out our weightlifting portion of Peak Strength, head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. You can download that today. You'll get 5 free workouts and you'll be able to play around with those technical variations. Okay, so the next exercise, I'm going to give you 3 variations because I'm not really good at one of them that I wanted to show you initially. So I'll give you 2 other versions of that really good one that I suck at. So one thing we can do is get into a split position here. Okay, and one thing I can do now is I can hold this towards you and I can rotate, come back, rotate, come back, rotate. And you're gonna feel that mid-back and through the shoulders. And you can do both sides, hold towards the camera here, rotate all the way back so there's 180 degrees. Now, one thing I can also do is I can get here and I can hold here, and I can rotate, and ideally I would be able to rotate all the way back up. Holy crap, that's what I suck at. Okay, so I'm gonna get here. I'm so stiff. Okay, so I could do 7 to each side. And you could really go do the standing one first where you're upright, then the standing one where you're leaning forward, and you're gonna feel that throughout that entire mid-back. Now, this is another one of my favorites where we can get here, rotate, press, come back, rotate, press, okay? And we can do both sides. Rotate towards that lead leg, press, come back, try and squeeze and feel this, rotate, press. Now, I jerk with my right leg forward, or I have jerked with my right leg forward in the past. Insert video of me jerking with my hood over my face. Now, if I was doing jerks right here, boom, I would feel stiff then when I go towards my left leg as the lead leg. I'd feel weird and awkward and almost weak to a point. So we've just got to be aware of that with our athletes. If we can strengthen them in those specific positions, now that weakness sort of gets ironed out and they're going to be more stable in that overhead position on both sides. Okay, so in the beginning of the video, I was doing that snatch press, the Zotz press down in the hole. So I'm going to show you a sweet little progression. I really like it, just call it snatch presses. I really like doing Zotz presses here, okay, and just feeling as upright as I can be. Boom, and press. Now, a lot of people will go like this and try and go into that press, or they're like that, okay? Which is okay when you're a beginner, but as you start to get more mobile, you should be able to press right here and then lower that controlled onto your back. Now, if I get really mobile then, what I wanna do next is find like almost where my start position would be, and I can put weight on and do what I would refer to as a cloak-off snatch. So I'm gonna be here and go boom. 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 Now, that's gonna lead to even more mobility in my hips, which is not for this specific video, but some external rotation, which will help with that lockout of the snatch. And then finally, of this progression, so if we hit the snatch press, then we get into the cloak-off snatch. Finally, I get into a Cuban press. And oftentimes I would do a Cuban press with like an easy curl bar because it's a little bit more narrow. So if I would go here, I'm gonna go here, okay? So I'm gonna pull to my sternum, okay? Pull to my sternum, rotate, press. Come back down, here, boom, 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 boom. Let me take my hat off, look like a tool. Come here, here, press, boom, back down, lower. When you come back down, okay, here, like this, rotate, press, don't just drop it, try to hold it, then lower, okay? A lot of times you'll see athletes collapse forward. That's where their shoulders are weak. That's where they struggle in the turnover with the snatch because they don't have that mobility through this position to rotate and lock out. So all 3 of those movements are great. Snatch press, cloak-off snatch, and then into the Cuban press. I actually like using that progression to build into that lockout to improve that overall mobility. Use all 3 of these, but use the progression so that the Cuban press is at the end. If you guys need help with your training, head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Get in, check out Peak Strength, get on that weightlifting gain train. Because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.